Is the Nike Zoom Fly 3 worth all the hype it's been given, or are you left just wanting that little bit more from this shoe? Is it the upgrade we'd all hoped for? Today we're going to be diving in and discussing the differences between the Nike Zoom Fly 3 and of course the original Nike Zoom Fly. What is up guys, Andy Forestine Runner here and welcome back for another video. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the comparison of the original Nike Zoom Fly and of course this new iteration in the series, the Nike Zoom Fly 3. I have a lot of experience in the original Nike Zoom Fly, put many miles in it, well over 800 in two different versions. And I was super excited to get my hands on the new Nike Zoom Fly 3. And today I want to give you my thoughts on the differences between the two. Is it really worth the upgrade? Is there a bit of a change in direction in terms of the dynamics of the shoe and what it might be used best for? I think so, but I want to cover all of that in today's video. So if you're new here or if you're looking forward to the video, please do give it a like, share it with your friends and do hit that subscribe button and of course the notification bell to make sure you don't miss any videos coming out on this channel. Now today I'm going to break this down hopefully in a clear and concise manner. Today we're going to go through the construction of both shoes, talk about the differences between the two, positive and negative, and then finally give you my thoughts on what I really think about the way that the new shoe has gone. Is it a big difference? Is it a good upgrade? Let's talk about it. Okay guys, so of course we're going to start off with the original Nike Zoom Fly version. This is not the Flyknit, this is just the original version. And when I got my hands on a pair of these back in January earlier this year, I managed to grab them for a bargain price of £70. There was a sale on the Nike store. So I was absolutely over the moon to be able to grab a pair. And I thought to myself, after watching all the rave reviews on YouTube, this is the shoe that I want that's going to be able to take me from the beginning to the end of my marathon journey with the comfort, the speed, and the direction that I needed. And sure enough, this thing delivered, and it over-delivered. It was such an incredible shoe. And for me, going from running in a lot of Asics shoes, this thing was just a revelation. Absolutely fantastic. So much so that by the time I got to my marathon, I put nearly 500 miles in the original pair and ordered a second pair to make sure I had a fresh pair. I'd already put 100 miles in it come the marathon day, but I had a fresher pair come race day. So if we talk about construction on this shoe from top to bottom, it's a very simplistic design. It feels very simplistic anyway, and this isn't a technical review, this is just a very much a bog standard top to bottom. This is how the shoe is. In terms of around the heel area, we have padding all the way around the heel, which was very nice, worked very well. My foot always felt very comfortable. The ankle came up nicely but not too high, never got any Achilles problems, never rubbed on the Achilles, and all round here inside is nice and padded and was lovely. We had the separate tongue that's detachable, which is different to the new Nike Zoom Fly 3 version, and took me a while to get used to that. In particular, the two things that took me a while to get used to, the tongue and the laces. We'll come to the laces in a minute. It's a very thin tongue, but again, lightweight, breathable, holes through from the bottom to the top of the tongue. If you look down, you can see the holes through. So it was a little bit weird going from an Asics shoe, which had very cushioned tongues, to something like this. Felt very odd, but caused me no problems at all. And going down the shoe, we had the fly wire holding the laces in. If you ever watched my original review, that was my only gripe I had with this shoe. The fly wire for me was an absolute nightmare. I could never get my feet dialed into the shoe. I could never get that tight feeling, and on a few occasions the laces did indeed come undone, which was a bit of a shame really, because I was, bar that, going to say this is a 10 out of 10 flawless shoe. But if we go down, the upper was very simple, very breathable all the way around here. Literally just, it feels like one or two layers, and that's it. We've got, you can see the start here, the ridge here. We've got the supportive heel from there and leading into the midfoot from there all the way around to there. You've just got that one piece of material, and other than that, it is just pure, thin, lightweight, breathable material. Absolutely stunning, exactly what I wanted. And if we look at the outsole here, it is just one section. We've got down here, you can see the crinkles here in the foam that's used in this shoe. Is obviously, this thing has 200 miles in it now, so it's no more than that, more than 200 miles, and you can see it's starting to get a bit of wear and tear, but it is just so simplistic in terms of, it looks like, it might not be, as I said, this is not technical, but it looks like just one piece of foam with some really nice simple design on the bottom. No fancy grip, no fancy anything. It was just designed to work. And this pattern, I believe, is what was used on the original Vaporfly 4% outsole. So in terms of the design and build of this shoe, it was nice and simple, nice and straightforward, delivered in abundance, and of course not forgetting the carbon fibre plate that was in here. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to get this shoe, to see what this whole carbon fibre plate phenomenon thing was all about. And do you know what? It's absolutely fantastic. I love it, and it really, I do find, helps give me that forward momentum that I need, especially in the latter miles of a race. The half marathon for me is where this shoe came alive. Miles 10 and 11, when you really have to start digging deep, because in my marathon I was gone by the end, and there was nothing that could save me. But half marathons and 10Ks, this thing really did well. So in terms of the construction of the shoe, nice and straightforward, nice simple Nike tick here, and quite a big Nike tick here, but it very much blended in, especially on this black version, so there was nothing too garish about it. Overall, this Zoom Fly for me was an absolute steal. So if we move on to the Zoom Fly 3, now I believe there was a version in between the two. I didn't get my hands on that, but I got my hands on this one. And the differences between the two shoes are actually quite big when you really get down and study it. So again, if we work ourselves from the top all the way down to the bottom, the first major difference here is we don't have the cushion around all the way around the edge. We have minor cushioning in there, and we have some minor cushioning in there. Not so much, well, in fact, nothing on the Achilles there. So just some padding internally in the sides. But this is basically, I think Ed Budd did a review on this shoe, and he said it perfectly. It's like wetsuit material. So just here, you've got this sock liner type fit, which goes from the heel all the way around, and that is incorporated with the tongue, so there's no separate tongue in this shoe. You literally slide your foot in there. I'm not pro it, I'm not against it, and to be honest with you, that's not a major difference for me. I'm not too worried about that side of things because I've not noticed a difference, but that's the first major update on this shoe. Moving down, we have this new lacing system. They got rid of the flywire, which is awesome. That is a big tick in my eyes. The lacing system in this, for me, is a lot better. I've managed to get a dialed fit from the off, and I was really happy with how I could get my foot nice and snug in there. And I think that is complemented also by this sock-like fit here. Just absolutely fantastic. So no issues with tongue slipping down or laces coming undone. That was absolutely great. And other than that, we move on to the main material, the Vaporweave, the new Nike technology, which we've seen advertised all over the Next Percent shoe. This shoe has some kind of version of the Vaporweave. Whether it's exactly the same, I'm not sure. When I was out with Corey at the Blazon 10K, he had the Next Percent, and he also said, or he showed me that you could see his sock ends, the ends of his socks, because they were orange, through the lime green in that shoe. That's how thin that Vaporweave was. I don't think that this is that thin. I might be wrong. Please do correct me in the comments if I am. But again, we have exactly the same structure. That is all the way around. Now, if you remember in the Zoomfly, we had this heel structure which kind of came round here and secured you in to about there. Then the rest, well, we don't have that here. We just have this internal padding, some kind of rubber seal here to connect the two sides together. And other than that, this is all just what it feels like to me is just one bit of upper material, this one Vaporweave. And you'll notice we have the similar small Nike tick on the inside of the shoe, but this side, this Nike tick is excessive. In my opinion, it's gargantuan, it is unnecessary, and it just does not blend in. If it wasn't quite as garish on the shoe, I wouldn't mind it, but it just does kind of look like you're one of those people walking down the street. Hey, look at me, I'm wearing Nikes, check me out, you know, and all those people that aren't wearing Nike, look at them and go, idiots. Because that's what I do. I judge people. I'm terrible. So in terms of that, I'm not a massive fan of that side of things, but on the whole, it's a major change in the heel and the laces, but just this vapor weave here. So if you look at that aspect, there's nothing that's particularly been added. It's just a change in the way they've made it. And if we move on to the outsole and the foam here, you'll see that this is a little bit chunkier. Now, being 6'6" myself, this makes me about 6'8". It's ridiculous. I look like an absolute giant as it is, but when I put my foot in this, I look like I'm on platforms. That's exactly the reason why I never bought those early iterations of Hoka shoes, because I thought, my goodness, I'm going to look humongous. But this thing does exactly that. Again, we've got the foam all the way around, exactly the same in the Nike Zoom Fly, just one layer all the way around by the looks of it. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but this is one of the major differences. You'll see here we have this foam that runs from the outside. This is all exposed foam here, but we have the rubber outsole here and here. Now, obviously that's not on the other version of the Zoom Fly. I don't know if that is what adds weight to this shoe, but overall, the whole bottom of this shoe is where I would say a bigger change has occurred. Again, it's a very similar layout and is a very similar layout to the Next Percent. Yet, when I pick the Next Percent up in my hands, it feels so much lighter. So, to clarify, as I've just alluded to there, this shoe has gotten heavier over the versions, and this shoe is now quite a bit heavier. I don't know the exact weights, but you can feel it. Now, I was concerned about this in my first race, the Blaisdon 10k video. If you missed that, you can go and check that back out on the channel. But this shoe did deliver in the race. I didn't notice the weight too much then, and I was able to fly and get that Zoom Fly feeling that I always wanted. But we'll leave that for the ending. That, guys, is the construction of the Zoom Fly 3. Okay, so let's dive into the performance of these shoes. I just had to stop myself then diving into that sort of performance element of how this thing performed. I wanted to save that for now. So in terms of how they both performed, I get that Zoom Fly feeling from both of them. So they do feel very similar in ride. I've got to say that when I put this on for the race that I had last week, I was a little bit concerned that the weight was going to have a big impact on the race itself, how I felt in the shoe, and maybe towards the end of the 10k when I got tired, would I notice the weight difference? Because as I said, there is a weight difference, and just holding it here I can feel the difference. This one really does kind of lean forward. The weight very much is in the forefoot here, but thankfully I didn't notice that too much. I noticed overall that there was a weight difference, but I didn't feel like I was being dragged back or there was any kind of resistance from the extra weight. So I still got that similar feeling that I do from this. You get a very much, as you put your foot down, you rock off, and that's the carbon fibre plate in both of these shoes. I felt exactly the same. However, of course, there is that weight difference, and what I would say between the two as some final thoughts for those of you who are looking to upgrade and who are looking for that excitement that you had, if you had that same excitement that you did, like I did in this shoe. And my overall thoughts would be, I am going to downgrade this shoe to a training shoe, and I'm going to keep and stick with this shoe for a racing shoe, simply because when I took this thing back out the other day for a run, which I didn't log on Strava, blimey, I know, it reminded me of how incredible it is as a racer. And after racing in this just on Tuesday it was, so only a few days ago, I got back in this and thought, yes, this is what a racing shoe feels like. This is what it should feel like on race night, and this just felt a little bit heavy and clunky. So I'm not knocking this shoe, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get it, but what I'm saying is just be wary. If you're looking to get a racing shoe, then there might be better options out there. I haven't tried it, but I have watched other reviews of Nike shoes, if you like Nike, and the Pegasus Turbo 2 seems to have the favour in terms of what people would prefer to race in. I'm going to be completely honest and say I'm not 100% sure how much I'm going to race in this. When this thing fades out, if I have not got another racing shoe, then yes, I will be using this. But for my next set of races, I will be back in the original Zoom Fly. I will not be using this, and I will be taking this out on a lot more of my workouts, because I think that is where you're going to get your bang for your buck with this shoe. I think it is a fast racing, wannabe racing shoe that's going to do great in those speed workouts. It's going to give you that cushioning that you need, the softness, especially if you run a lot on tarmac. It's going to give you that cushion that you need to protect your joints from all of that concrete, and I like that, but I don't think I'm going to use it for racing. So in conclusion, in my overall thoughts, yes, it's a brilliant shoe. Is it worth the upgrade? Is it worth the £140 I spent? For a racing shoe, no, not at all. For a training shoe, no. I could get better shoes, I think, for training as well. I have it now, I'm going to use it. It's going to be used for training only. But I'm sad to say that I can't give this review a positive ending. I'm really hoping and praying that in the next iteration of this shoe, they address a lot of what has gone wrong in this, which I feel is simply weight, and for whatever reason, the weight distribution, because it's not just the weight. When I hold this shoe nicely here, I feel a very even weight balance. When I hold this shoe here, it just wants to tip. It just does not feel right. So that's it, guys. That's my thoughts on the difference between the Nike Zoom Fly 3 and the original Nike Zoom Fly. If you're still here at this point, I thank you for listening to me waffle on. But I hope you found it useful, and I hope you take away from this my thoughts, and fingers crossed you will, well, if you get your hands on a pair of these, great. I guarantee you will love them. But if you're looking for an upgrade, a racing upgrade, this is probably not the shoe you're after. So there we go, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you did enjoy this video and you were prepared to listen to me waffle on, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, and of course do consider subscribing to the channel for weekly running content. And I will, of course, see you next time. Until then.